justify this for themselves by verses here or a hadith there. So I don't think we should, and this is an advice for my friends, the non-Muslim friends, don't ever be fool or basically believe anybody just come and said, oh, God said kill the disbelievers or do this and do that. Because that person who already made that decision, he's not really waiting for a verse or a hadith. Most of them, they really motivated by either revenge, social problem, political problem, politically they motivated against others. And some of them religiously been misled. And that's why we need a lot of education to those people. A lot of people to debate with them, to talk to them, especially before they reach the level it could be turned to soldiers. One important thing, and that's kind of advice to any Muslim who hear me today, to tell them there is a stage the person goes through it. First stage, he's thinking about it. He hear all this debate. Then after a while, the person transfer from being just a citizen to be a militant, to be a person carrying a weapon. So whenever you hear the bomb, you hear the bullet been shot, that's not the first stage. That's the last stage. We have to deal with it from basically the roots and to prevent this from happening. And no doubt, going back to the teaching of the Prophet ﷺ, going back to the verses of the Quran, you will see clearly there is nothing can justify what you see a group like Al-Qaeda or people like this doing today in the name of Islam, I can't see as a specialist, I can see anything can justify these actions.
Tell us, because I have a lot of points I want to cover, and if you can put some of these verses that I'm going to bring up in context, because I'll get certain people that will try to communicate to me, and they'll quote me certain verses and say, look, this is what your book teaches, this is what your prophet teaches. For instance, Surah 9, verse 5. How would you comment on this?
Okay. We cannot in this short period, this episode, to go over every single verse or evidence that they might do. What I want us to know...
Give us a formula.
Yeah, I want us to know, especially the non-Muslims who are not familiar with the system of Islam. Yeah. There is a common sense. It's between Islam and any other religion. Any academic person or any person who research for the truth, he should follow that method, which is you cannot ever take one single evidence and you base your whole argument on it. You have to bring all related evidence to the subject. So you cannot pick one verse from the Quran and you forgot about the verse before it and after it. For instance, that particular verse that you caught in Surah 9, verse 5, in Surah At-Tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is specifically talking about the kuffar of Quraysh, the pagans of Mecca, who were in war with the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ had a deal with them, then that treaty came into an end, and now Allah ordered the Prophet ﷺ to fight those mushrikeen and to basically not to accept from them any treaty. Okay, that exact same verse, let's see how the Prophet ﷺ applied in real life. That verse that we talk about, the Prophet Muhammad conquered Mecca. When he conquered Mecca, he didn't have a big fight, by the way. Just maybe for a few hours, just the fight took place, and after that they surrendered. All those pagans that the verse said, kill them, kill the pagans, kill those infidels, as some people might say. Those people, they were lying up front of the Prophet ﷺ. Did the Prophet ﷺ kill them all? No. The Prophet ﷺ said, you are free to go. He took over this town, which has the house of Allah, which is meant to be a pure place to worship Allah alone. After he conquered that, he let them go. He didn't kill them. So if somebody today say, this verse had killed them, why the Prophet ﷺ didn't kill them? The Prophet ﷺ didn't do that, because that's not what it meant. We have to understand the religion in the light of how the Prophet ﷺ applied this ahadith. Also, you take this verse and compare it to the other verses where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that you fight those who are fighting you. The people of Mecca, they tried to kill the Prophet ﷺ. They killed his companions. They declared war against him. So that's normal for you to fight them back. The people in the north of Arabia, they declared war against the Prophet ﷺ by the help of the Romans in the north of Arabia. The Prophet ﷺ fought them back and sent the armies to them. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said that the Prophet ﷺ never ever started a war against anybody. Actually, we're always saying, in janahul salm fajnah lah, if they want to have a treaty with you, open the door for them to live in peace. Islam always promotes that people will live in peace. Islam is one of the first, it's the first religion as far as I know, that taught his people to accommodate people from other faiths. It's a very founded in our religion that Christian and Jews, and through the history can witness for us that. Through the history, Jewish, they couldn't find more safer place for them more than the Muslims' country to live in it. When they've been basically attacked and killed in Europe, they migrated to the Turkey, migrated to Morocco, migrated to North Africa, to the Muslims' land. Christians, they also admit and they know that when the Crusaders themselves walk into Jerusalem and they kill the people who Christians like them, but they don't share with them maybe the same exact branch of Christianity, they never been treated like this by Islams, by the hand of Islams. Christians lived in Egypt, in north of Africa, and all over the Muslim world, and their rights protected. If this been said, nobody can say that it has to be an ideal. We don't live in an ideal world. Muslims are not perfect. Muslims are like any other nation. You know, there is a difference between religion and the people who follow the religion. I'm not saying every state in the history of Islam was a perfect state. There is bad examples in every nation, in every generation.
You mentioned those examples. What I want to go into next briefly, because we're almost out of time, is that, so this would be the defect in the human being, that individual. Because we can give examples, for instance, from people who were supposed Christians. Hitler was Christian. He went out killing a lot of people because he thought that, you know, they killed his God. Is this correct?
Yeah.
So we can give some examples. KKK, they were, you know, thought they were doing some good stuff by lynching people. Is there any other examples that you know of that of other faiths that or people in a faith? Timothy McVeigh went up and blew up some building, and so we want to separate the actions of individuals from the whole Christianity, Judaism, or Islam.
I think that's a common sense. I don't need even these examples. I don't need these examples to.
But many
to
people.
Prove. For me as a Muslim, I really care about my Muslims, my Muslim brothers and sisters. I make sure that they don't cross the lines. I really. That's my nature. I don't give myself the authority to point finger to other religions and you have this happen to you. For me, I think that's fine. That can be set an example.
Yeah.
But I think that's not the point. The point, everybody agreed. There is no perfect human. You know, everybody has problems and mistakes. Yes, maybe some Muslims done something wrong, but look at the benefits that the Muslims have brought to the world as well. Look at the society that we're living in. There is a lot of things we enjoy today. Modern science is started by a lot of Muslim scientists. Muslim civilizations have contributed to it, and the Muslim world today are part of this basically globalization that we're living in, and we have to figure a way for Muslims and non-Muslims to coexist together in peace. And we all line up against those minorities, which is the extreme group. I think they are minority, but they are loud. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that the media try to do is try to make them big, try to basically make them bigger than what they really are, and try to label Muslim. There is 1 billion Muslims on the face of the earth. You cannot label Muslims. You cannot basically say all Muslims or most of them are like that. And those people are minorities, and they are isolated, but they are loud. And sometimes we give them the excuse. We give them the excuse to do what they're doing by basically not practicing what we believe. If I may say something here, one of the biggest problems I see in the so-called war against terrorism, that a lot of people who declare that, they are not sincere in this. Mm-hmm. They do it for political reasons. Yeah. Or for economic reasons, to make money out of it. They're not really sincere about it. And that's one of the biggest problems. For Muslims, especially the Muslim scholars, they are sincere about fighting terrorism and extremism. Because one of my goals, those people who are extremes, I want to save them from the hellfire as well. I want to reach my hand to them to save them. I'm not their enemy in a sense. I also one person who want to give them da'wah. I want to guide them. I want them to leave this path that they have taken and go back to the society and be part of the society. I think if we are sincere about it, I think we will succeed more than what we are doing right now.
So tell us the main message of Islam. Now we've clearly stated the facts that Islam condemns killing innocent women, children. It doesn't give authority to go hijack a plane, bomb a building. I mean, you have a right to defend yourself. Is this clear? If somebody trying to come in your house, come and force you out of your home, you have a right like anybody to defend yourself, but there's a line that you don't cross.
There is a very important point also for a lot of non-Muslims to know. They ask me a lot about jihad and the concept of jihad and things like that. There is one important thing that non-Muslims need to understand: the nature of religion. Islam is a way of life. In a sense, Islam came to teach people how to establish a state. So it's not like a spiritual things you do it in the church on Sunday or certain times or certain prayer before you eat, it's not like occasional things. It's not like just very general moral system that you follow. Islam has a lot of details related to the way you live your life, So part of the teaching of Islam, to live as a community, as a state, the issue of declaring war. If you have a Muslim Islamic state, which we call the defense ministry today, or we have the Secretary of Defense, that position. In Islam, there is rulings and there is teaching from Muhammad ﷺ and from Allah through the Quran to teach that Secretary of Defense how to behave in time of war. How to that leader of